Hello everyone and welcome back to another before and after episode with us here at Maple Leaf Reviews. I'm Jeffrey.
And I'm Jacob.
And today we're going to be taking a look at Signorie, I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Or Signorie.
Signorie, something like that, from Watch Your Game. Now, this is a game about trying to get the most influence with the powerful houses during the Renaissance era.
Okay.
Sounds super exciting, I know. But really, what I look for in the Watch Your Game games is the mechanics.
Sure. Yeah.
They have really good Euros with really great mechanics. So the theme is kind of secondary when I go into their games. But the theme actually, to me, sounds pretty cool. So Jacob doesn't know anything about this, right?
Nothing.
So the game is a dice worker placement game, kind of.
Okay.
You roll a common pool of dice, and then you're choosing from amongst those dice to take your actions. So rather than everyone having their own dice to roll, you roll a common pool and you use those dice to take the actions with them. So you kind of get away from the, I get screwed by my dice rolls. Everyone has the same dice rolls.
Right.
So everyone goes in on an even kind of footing. Also, the dice rolls, you don't necessarily want the higher number, because if you keep your dice total below a certain threshold, you actually get a bonus at the end of the round, which seems pretty cool. You also will be upgrading your actions, so you can take certain actions to make other actions better later on, which is a pretty cool concept. So in the game, you're going to be advancing your male members of your family, because you control this family that you're trying to, get more prestigious, more famous in the Renaissance era. And you're advancing your male members either in the clerical, the political, or the military track. And then you're sending them off to do diplomatic missions. And then you also have females that you're trying to marry off to other families to kind of increase the ties that you have with them. And that's basically the theme of the game. You're going to be taking dice, using them to take actions. It's going to be very economical money. I expect is going to be pretty tight in this game. But yeah, that's basically Signorie.
Okay. So what are your expectations as far as teaching and learning the game?
For teaching and learning, I don't think it's going to be too hard. Looking at the components, there's a lot of references on the board or your player board as to what the things do. I think really the thinking about the decisions that you have to make to take the actions, that's going to be hard, but it's not going to be hard to teach. Is people are going to be puzzling in their own mind, okay, how am I going to get the most out of my action, rather than it being, how does this action work?
Okay. Yeah, for me, I mean, these games, What's Your Game usually has heavier Euros.
Yeah.
So learning the game actually isn't, for their games, it's usually not that hard. It's more learning the best play.
Right.
And I'm expecting that's going to be difficult. That's going to come with time as we play it more. What are your expectations for game mechanics?
I think it's going to be, really clean. Everything is going to just work. And once you kind of go through a round, I think it's just all going to make sense. And then it's just going to be about, how can I do the best? Right.
For me, just knowing what Jeff had just told me, I think I like the everyone collectively choosing from a collective pool of dice, so you're not rolling poorly and you're losing the game because of that. Everyone's choosing from the same thing, so I think that's a cool aspect of the game. Other than that, I don't know much else about it. So moving on, what are your expectations of interaction between players?
That I'm not a whole lot sure of. There is going to be some sort of fighting maybe for areas on the board, because of the different cities that you're going to be sending your people to. They could maybe fill up quickly, or there might be a bit of fighting over trying to get influence with this family versus this family. Not really sure how much interaction there's going to be, so I don't really know for that one.
Okay, and I have no idea, as I haven't seen any reviews or gameplay or anything, so I'm kind of just open to whatever happens.
Yeah, and for the theme, like I said, I think it's going to be more about the mechanics, but the theme is there. You're going to be moving. There's like 3 different tracks, so you're going to be moving your male members. He's a better cleric now, or he's higher up in the military, and then you get more benefits for sending those people to do missions and stuff like that. So I think the mechanics are going to fit well with the theme.
Right. And I find usually that in these deeper games where it takes a lot of mental power, you're usually not following the theme too much. Like, you're not worried about the theme, you're just worried about making the best possible play and just flowing with the mechanics. So I think the theme will usually match the action that you're taking, but I don't think I'm going to feel like it is what it is.
Yeah. So overall, I'm kind of excited going into this one. I'm expecting a good game, one that I'll probably enjoy. So that's kind of where I'm going into it as.
Right. And for me, I've enjoyed all their games so far. None of them have blown my mind, but they're usually really fun. So I'm expecting it to be a decent game.
All right. So we'll come back after we've given it a play and we'll give you our final thoughts on it.
Yeah. See you soon.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We just finished our very first play of Signorie.
Signorie.
Signoria? Something like that. So my initial impression after playing the game was I really liked it. I thought it was a really good game. If you like their previous games, you're probably going to like this one. So overall, really positive experience. Before we go too deep into it.
For me, I did not like the first 3 rounds of the game.
Okay.
First 3 rounds, I was going, this isn't working for me.
Yeah.
Then about round 4, and how many rounds are in the game? 7. Pretty classic. I think there's 7 in all their games. Or is that, no, that's Ryan Lockett has 7 in all. Yeah. Anyways. So about halfway through the game, I was just like, okay, I'm getting the hang of this now. I'm understanding. Everything started making a little more sense.
Yeah.
Things were clicking a bit better. And from that point on, I just thought it was all right.
Okay.
I think with more plays, I might enjoy it more. But the first 3 rounds kind of pulled me back.
Yeah.
And then the next 4 brought me back to kind of neutral.
Yeah. And I think because I was the one who read the rules, those first 3 rounds weren't the same for me. I already kind of knew where things were going.
Sure.
So maybe that played into it as well. For the setup was pretty quick.
It was super quick.
Only took a few minutes to actually set up the game. The teaching wasn't overly long, probably 15 minutes to teach the game. And our first play was only 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Right.
So I could see like the
2-player.
Yeah, 2-player. Subsequent games probably wouldn't take an hour if people knew what they were doing. So it's a pretty quick game as well.
Yeah.
For, like I said, teaching was pretty quick. It wasn't overly difficult to teach. I do think now that I've actually played the game that my teaching will be a lot cleaner and more straightforward if I have to teach it again in the future.
Sure. Learning the game, a lot of the mechanics were very simple and straightforward. So it was like, yeah, okay, I get that. But there's lots of them. There's lots of little things. And I would say they aren't maybe intuitive for some of them. So learning it was pretty basic, but then getting caught up in how many different things were going on the first 3 rounds, I was just like, oh, how does this work again? Which do I use here? When do I pay my money for the man versus the woman? And
it's the interaction too between all the different mechanics that kind of increase the complexity, because you can do certain actions in multiple different ways. Yeah. You can either, actually take that action with the dice to do the action, or you could use another dice and take the assignment action, which is kind of like a bonus. So there's lots of ways to do the same thing. It's just how is the best way for you to go about doing it. Where it can get a little complex.
Yeah, each die has a specific action that it can take, but then where the zone that it's in, there's these little tokens that go out which replicate all those same actions, and they can be with different colors. Yeah. So then you could also take that same action with a different color.
Yeah. The game mechanics, I really like the whole upgrade system for upgrading the different colored actions. So there's 5 different colors for each of the different colored dice. When you take that dice, you can do 1 of 3 actions with the dice.
Correct.
And then you have up to 3 bonus actions that you can upgrade to make that action even better. But to upgrade one, you actually need to give up on an action in order to upgrade, and it's really expensive.
Yeah,
to upgrade.
money's tight.
So yeah, like money is really tight. For the first part of the game, I really invested heavily into upgrading at the beginning, and then I kind of didn't upgrade afterwards. So my actions were really good, and I just kept taking those actions over and over again. And I really like that whole, I gave up on actions early and gave up my money to kind of set myself up for mid to late game.
Yeah, I took my very first action in the game was to set up one action, which was every time I took it, I got 3 points. And I thought that would be really good. And I ended up losing the game by a substantial chunk. But I don't think it's a horrible action. It was really expensive to get these actions going, to get these bonuses. And I found money to be really tight. And then it was like, oh, I can't do this action anymore because I don't have the money to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then you're losing out on all those actions. So you have to be very careful about how you spend your money in this game, and it's very kind of thought-provoking there to kind of mastermind your whole turn and future turns.
Yeah, I found also because you don't want to take too many high-value dice, which decrease the cost, because you want to be under 13 in order to get the bonuses at the end of the round. And those bonuses are awesome. So you can either maybe take some higher value dice and miss out on the bonuses to save money, or you can try and take the lower value ones and spend some money in order to get the bonus at the end. So sometimes I didn't even take a fourth action because you can only take 4 in the round. Sometimes I didn't even take the fourth action because that would have pushed me over and I couldn't take the bonus. So I just passed on the action.
Right. And I took all the actions I possibly could. And, forking out money left and right just to stay under that 13 par so I'd get the bonus.
Yeah.
I think only once I missed it.
Yeah. I like the mechanics. I love the upgrading. I found once I kind of got into it around, like you said, round 4, I could kind of see my way through the forest.
Yeah.
And then it all just became about, manipulating it to the best of my ability to get the most points.
Yeah, I mentioned this already before, so my thoughts are generally, I kind of liked the dice actions. Those were really clean, worked out well, and I liked the mechanic of putting out these tokens to get bonus actions with that, paying the money, made for tough decisions.
Yeah.
But some of the actions weren't readily, didn't make a ton of sense. You're sending these workers, they're moving up this track, and then you move them over into the land, marrying them off, I guess, and getting points and tokens towards more points.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay.
Yeah, you need to play it through to kind of see where it's going before it really makes a whole lot of sense. It's not something you're just going to look at and be like, okay, yeah, it all makes sense. You kind of got to see the progression of, okay, I have a male member of my family. I need to move him up on this track. Then I send him off on a mission into the city to get this tile, which then at the end of the game is going to potentially get me some points. So you got to go through that whole aspect, I think, to really understand what it is you're moving towards.
Right.
For gameplay interaction, how did you feel about?
I felt like there was a little bit. You could look at the spread. So there's only 2 dice of each color. There's 1 per player. In our 2-player game, there's 2 dice. You can only take an action once with a specific color. So once Jeff had taken a specific color dice, I know that he's not going to take that other one. So I can be like, okay, I can leave that die there. I don't need to worry about taking that action right now. And I can look over and look at the other combinations of 2 dice and pick which one I wanted, knowing that I would have a choice of picking a high value and not paying money, or picking a low value to stay under the 13 and paying a bit extra for it.
Yeah, I found initially that there wasn't a whole lot, but then as the game went on, I kind of started seeing the interaction come out. Like you said, with the dice, I could, take a high value dice for a particular action if there's a high and a low, to force you to pay money to take that if you wanted to take that action. Yeah. So there was some interaction there. Also, if I see that your dice values are getting high, I could take a low value dice to maybe make you miss out on an action, or to take it and miss out on the bonus.
Sure.
So there was a little bit there.
Yeah.
Also, in the cities, there's only 1 diplomatic mission for each city and 1 marriage for each city.
Right.
So I could see, okay, you're up on the clerical track, and you can only take this tile I know he's probably going to want to take that one. I need to take it as well, but I could also take this other one. I'm going to take the one that he needs first to deny him those points. So I could start to see, as I got more comfortable with the game, I was actually looking at your board and seeing, okay, he doesn't need this, so I can wait, and I'll do this because he might want to do it as well, so I'll try and block him out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that the interaction comes with multiple plays.
Yeah.
Seeing and knowing how the game is going to unfold, you can learn to block people and just deny them points, definitely.
Yeah. So other than that, for the theme-wise, it's the theme kind of makes sense with the mechanics a little bit, but ultimately it's a Euro. I'm not going in for it for the theme. I'm going in for some good mechanics, and I really enjoyed the mechanics. So it's a good game for me.
Yeah, I didn't feel the theme at all. You do have these two different types of meeples. You have a male meeple and a female, and it looked cool, but I never felt like I was, playing out this theme. However, that being said, with the whole moving up these tracks with your males and moving them out on diplomatic missions and marrying off, I think if I, put more effort into understanding that theme, those mechanics I would have learned them a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So maybe focusing more on just understanding that theme, it could have made me a better player.
Yeah, and also there was one mechanic that I think was the most thematic of them all is at the end of the round you can marry off members of your family.
Yeah.
And then later on you can take an action to get more offspring, so you get more of those male and female workers, and you get a number of offspring equal to the number of married members of your family. That was probably the most thematic. Yeah. So you want to marry more people off so you can get more kids later. Yeah. That made total sense with the theme.
Yeah, I do agree. I do think that is one of the most thematic aspects of the game. And other than that, I think it was just an overall good game.
Yeah, it's one, if you like Euros, I would definitely recommend. And if you like their previous games from this company, Watch Your Game, you're definitely going to like this game as well.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's Signorie. I would recommend checking it out.
Yeah, take a look.
See you guys next time.